Welcome to Healthier, Happier You, the people working to make it happen. I'm Evan J. Cholfin from Luxhammer, where we help the brands and organizations that help you live healthier. I'm joined by Emily Aylott, CEO of Mothers Against Addiction. MAA is doing incredible work supporting families affected by addiction through community education and compassion. Emily, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about addiction and how we can help.
Likewise. So, what inspired the creation of Mothers Against Addiction?
It started quite a few years back with a group of people who realized when they were in the trenches of addiction that there were so many resources to help support them that they really wanted to create a resource to help their families. It grew and blossomed through COVID and changing over to the virtual platform to what it is today, which is really great counseling and one on one support for families.
That's amazing. And how did you get involved?
I actually got involved through more PR and VP role. I've worked with other nonprofits in the past, similar missions and ideology of community and supporting stigma. I worked for a teenage pregnancy nonprofit for quite a few years, and their goals very much aligned with Mothers Against Addiction. The idea of community, womanhood, supporting each other. I was lucky enough to become VP, and our CEO ended up taking a leave. And I filled in as interim CEO for a little bit, and then I ended up permanently being CEO for about 8 or 9 months now.
Amazing. I understand your weekly mothers share meetings and monthly coffee and connections become lifelines for many. What made you choose this community focused approach?
We really noticed that there is a gap in the stigma, trying to reach these women, and we wanted to make it the most relaxed, open space possible. And I think Coffee and Connections was a really great way to do it. Our whole premise is pull up on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with your coffee. We have a topic that we talk about, we put it in the group chat, and then it's just kind of free flowing. The moms really lead it themselves. They have a lot on their chest, and having that sense of community to open up to, I find them to be my favorite meetings because you can tell a weight's lifted off of them when they're able to open up.
And the statistics are really sobering. The 56,516 overdose deaths per year, 67% involving synthetic opioids. How do these numbers drive MAA's mission?
I think it drives it because it's so prevalent in today's society. I think even though it's 2025, people don't want to talk about the weight that addiction carries in our society, but it's heavy. We're all bearing it. Having that open dialogue and having other people who feel the burden that you're feeling, it doesn't make it go away, but it does make it lighter knowing that you're not the only one carrying it. I'm one of those strong believers in if you're not speaking it, you're storing it, and that doesn't help anything. That doesn't help you heal. If your loved one's going through recovery, they're in addiction, they're in a really bad place, you're hurting as well, and you're going to need to heal also.
So, your organization emphasizes that addiction is a disease, not a moral failing. How are you working to change this perception?
I think it's such a topic that is emotion driven and not fact driven. People come to the table and they think that their opinions are driven by feelings, not facts. Our chief program officer, she is phenomenal. She's been an addiction medicine counselor and therapist for years in Utah, where she is from and works. They're trying to shift the language of it now too. Instead of addiction, it's substance abuse disorder. It's not as stigmatizing. It's more medical based, and when you kind of put more facts into it, the feelings dissipate a little.
Yeah, that certainly helps. What makes MAA's approach to addiction support unique compared to other organizations?
I always love to say that MAA is a really good support and a tool to put in your tool belt. I don't think it's the one size fits all. It fixes all the remedies. It's your only tool you need. We have a lot of people who tandem use MAA with other resources. They go to Al Anon or Al Anon 1 or 2 days a week. Hearing 12 steps works for some people, not hearing it works for others. I love the phrase, take what you want, leave what you don't. If they're going to 4 meetings a week and only one of them's MAA, they're taking what they want from our groups and that's helping them bridge their gap and their healing, then more power to them. And we'd love to just be part of their support system.
What's the core problem you're solving for families affected by addiction?
What we're aiding the most in is a sense of community. I think that helps tremendously in the entire healing process. We had one mom, and she said, I have all these women and all these loved ones that every single day they say to me, I care about you. I want to support you. How are you doing? But then when I try to tell them how I feel, it's like I'm speaking a different language and they don't hear me because they don't know what it feels like. She says, I come to these groups and everybody in these groups are fluent in the language I'm trying to speak. Having that resource of people knowing how it feels speaks volumes. Community is such a valuable resource.
So, what's been your biggest challenge in growing MAA's impact this year?
We've been really good strides this year. We have a really great marketing team. The biggest hurdle we find is we're a virtual organization. So everything's spread by word of mouth, social media, email outreach. We're limited in the fact of people aren't going to drive by our brick and mortar, see our sign and want to come in. So if people aren't opening their emails, if people aren't stopping on our social media pages, they don't know about us. Being a part of wonderful podcasts like this and really trying to spread the word is extremely helpful to us because we're a free resource that we want a lot of people to know about because they deserve to have this sense of community.
What common misconceptions do you see about addiction support?
There are just so many misconceptions around the word addiction still. As you said earlier, a lot of people think it's a choice. A lot of people think from a parent perspective, they need to have tough love, or how did they let them get to that point? I think there's a lot of stigma around being a parent of a loved one with addiction because they feel a very heavy weight of guilt of how did my kid get here? One of my kids just had first grade graduation. You see all these little kids in little tiny caps and gowns, and you don't think one of them's going to overdose. That's never your thought. But as they get older, people don't want to admit that that's the path that they're going down. They want to do everything they can to stop it. Really fighting that ideology of, well, it's not my kid or it could never be my kid is a big hurdle we need to overpass and really push with education.
What's the biggest obstacle to reaching more families in need?
One of our biggest hurdles recently is we have a lot of headway in getting in hospitals and getting early intervention programs, crisis lines. We really want to get into school systems as well. One of our counselors is actually really well versed in child counseling for addiction. A lot of schools have the DARE program where they try to scare kids into not doing drugs. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, they had the commercials where it was like a deflated person on a sofa. And it was like, don't end up like Jim. They try to scare you when ultimately education is huge into realizing the science of addiction. I think education's huge into just drug and alcoholism. Our biggest hurdle has been trying to have school systems let us be in their online flyers or their bulletins as a resource because school is very hesitant to do anything with the word addiction. But I really think it could be game changing for our next generation if we try to educate earlier and really get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. And how do you handle the emotional toll of supporting mothers through trauma?
To be honest, being part of this organization, it fills up my heart something fierce. As many of the really horrific stories we hear from these moms, hearing how in the trenches they are and how much support they need, being part of an organization that can help give that support, help give that community, help give that bit of hope that they need, it outweighs the bad stuff way more, being a part of something bigger than yourself.
What makes it difficult to stand out and get funding in the nonprofit space?
That's been challenging for sure, especially the government climate that we're in. Federal funding is very limited right now. And it's looking like it's going to get more sparse. We're lucky that since we're a national nonprofit and we reach all 50 states, we're eligible to apply for state by state grants, not just federal. We're also part of really great fundraiser and donor programs. We're in a gala later this year. We're looking to join Addiction 5K and walk to raise more money also later this year. It is sparse, but I think there are a lot of opportunities for nonprofits to partner together and grow together.
What's working well with your outreach for funding and partnership?
It probably sounds really silly, but our TikTok following has grown quite a bit. We've gotten a little bit of outreach there. Our LinkedIn is growing quite a bit too, which helps from a company to company kind of partnership growth. Just kind of word of mouth too. We get some really great referrals, and I feel the addiction recovery community, as large as it is, it's also very small and word travels fast. We'll get a lot of emails saying, hey, I heard you guys did amazing work for X amount of people, we'd love to talk about a partnership. And you know, a friend that knows a friend. And so that's been nice.
What are your main impact goals for 2025?
I don't know if it's 2025 specifically. Us and the board members keep talking about hosting our own event, hopefully end of 2025, early 2026. Up until this point, we've done partnerships and kind of backed off of other events, and we'd love to host our own. We've been throwing out ideas. It takes a lot of capital up front, and with federal funding kind of being limited, we've kind of been looking at different options, but that would be a really great goal for us.
How are you planning to scale your support programs?
We are growing. Um, our one-on-one sessions are something that are relatively new to us, and we've had a really great response to them. We want to increase our support hours for our Hope mentors. There are our support counselors. The reason we use Hope mentors is because you need specific support counselor licensing different in every state, but Hope mentor checks off all those boxes. So we're looking to get some more Hope mentors on, open up some more availability for our hours so we can accommodate the added signups we keep getting.
How are you currently connecting with mothers who need support?
We have our sign up pages all on our website. We have signups through our social media accounts also. All of our social media accounts link to our newsletter, so you can sign up for either our newsletter, specific sessions, specific meetings, or you can check all the boxes and we'll call you up and do an intake, see what you really need. One thing I love about MAA is we have a very personalized touch. You'll get a phone call from one of us within the first 48 hours. We'll kind of say, "Hey, I'm Emily. I'd love to just sit and chat with you. What's going on and how can we help?" And then we kind of guide them into what resources we do have, what meetings we have available, what we think would help them, and what they think they need help with.
It's really amazing. I love that personal touch. What's your strategy for expanding the volunteer program?
As we grow, we give really great resources from a nationwide perspective, certain hotlines, certain local, like Al-Anon support groups around. Even PALS is a really great resource. We love to say that on the phone, but I personally live in New Hampshire. I could be talking to somebody on the phone in Alabama, and I don't know what local resources they have that are more brick and mortar boots on the ground resources. One outreach idea I would love to see moving forward is specific regional care coordinator where they can give more personalized resources. They can give more less generic, more personal references into, hey, have you tried this resource? It should be 2 towns over from you. They're great. They have amazing reviews, kind of thing.
What are you seeing in addiction support that gives you hope?
Even though we've talked about breaking the stigma around it, we are making really great strides. Even when you talk to people, when they say, "Oh, what do you do for work?" I say, "Oh, I work for Mothers Against Addiction." You kind of see their face kind of make a little squint when they hear the word addiction. It's almost like people still feel uncomfortable around the word. I love talking about it. I could shout this nonprofit from the rooftops. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of the women we help. I'm not ashamed of the families we help. I think more and more people are getting like that. I think more and more people are feeling open about talking about it. We're feeling proud to talk about it. Having really great programs like this and getting the word out there, it's gonna keep breaking down those walls. That gives me hope because I think the more people know, the more people can help.
Yeah, absolutely. What changes do you think will impact addiction support most in the next 12 to 18 months?
I'm really hoping federal funding will help support. I think it's a lot of up in the air. The right kind of programs could make a huge difference if they get passed. If a lot of funding gets cut, unfortunately, a lot of programs are going to get lost. But I'm more of an optimistic person, so I'd love to see more being passed. It could make a lot of lives better. It could make a lot of change happen. Um, it could really transform healthcare as a whole. It could really transform just mental health as a whole. I think a lot of people understand that mental health and addiction, they're very, very intertwined. A lot of the federal funding, it supports both. So it could be two birds, one stone.
What opportunities are you most excited about?
We have some really great partnerships coming up. We're going to be a part of the Cardinal Crew Gala in Cleveland this year in October. We're looking into doing an addiction walk in Alaska this fall also. I love partnerships. They're really great in this field of healthcare because it is very difficult to kind of make your way in the addiction and recovery world, because there's a lot of hurdles that aren't supported as a typical healthcare avenue. So connections, partnerships are make or break.
So, what's going to be crucial to get right in the next year?
Growing strategically. Speed has less to do with growth than direction. Making the right partnerships are more important than making fast partnerships. I very much pride MAA, our board of directors, and our executive staff on the background research and the level of autonomy that we make with our partnerships. In the world of addiction and recovery, there are a lot of addiction centers out there, as many people know, who are very money driven. I think there are a lot of centers out there that they take these very vulnerable families who would pay an arm and a leg to see their loved ones become better. And a lot of centers don't help ethically. They take advantage of these families. And we do a lot of research. We do a lot of meetings, background checks, everything to verify that the companies that we're partnering with really do support the well-being of the patient. They really support the well-being of the family, and they're doing everything because they care, not because of the dollar. That's critical. Just making those connections and making sure they're solid and worthy.
So, how would someone find the right facility or health center? What would you suggest?
I would suggest look at your reviews, tour. If you call up somebody and the first thing they say on the phone is, "Are you paying privately?" That's a red flag. A lot of these places, they don't look at a chart. They don't look at who they're taking in. They don't look at what their needs are. They look at their payer source. They look at what they have for insurance and their reimbursement rates. They just try to make a dollar, unfortunately. And then you have amazing, amazing recovery centers that follow up, and they'll come see the patients in their home. They'll come and they'll go the extra mile. And I think it's very easy to tell. Even from a partnership standpoint, we waited like a month for this amazing meeting with a marketing professional from a very, very well-known recovery chain. Within the first 2 minutes, they said, "Well, how can you financially benefit us from this partnership?" They didn't ask anything about MAA. They didn't ask about the families we support. They didn't ask about how we're emotionally benefiting our community. They asked about how we were going to financially benefit them. And it's just very clear to tell which centers are truly there for the patient.
If we were to have this conversation again in 12 months, which I hope we do, what would make you feel it's been a successful year?
I think just looking back and seeing how many lives we've benefited, that's the beauty of nonprofits. That's the beauty of healthcare. I've been in healthcare for a hot minute, since I was 17. When you're a young kid, you say, "I want to join healthcare because I want to heal people and help people." I think along the way, a lot of people kind of lose that vision. Joining MAA really relit that vision for me. I would love to be back in a year, and I'd love to tell you, hey, we doubled the amount of families we've helped, and we're seeing this many families, and we have this many counselors, and we're making a really big difference.
I hope to see that in a year and more. Well, thank you for sharing MA's powerful mission with us today. To our listeners, if you have someone you love who's affected by addiction, remember you're not alone. You can connect with MA's supportive community at mothersagainstaddiction.org. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep making a difference.